The bulls find themselves in an absolutely critical point within the market, and we'll need to see them step up ASAP. They're really running out of time over here. In today's show, we'll have a look at the levels that need to be reclaimed. We'll look at if there's any trade opportunities. We'll take altcoin requests and a whole lot more. I'm also going to show you exactly why liquidity is being drained from the market, and it will surprise you. It will surprise you, right? First, before we get into the show content, 17 years ago today, Satoshi Nakamoto published the Bitcoin white paper. I thought I'd start you off with a fun fact. Very interesting. 17 years. Can you believe it? I guess the space has come a very, very, very long way since then. And yeah, Bitcoin is still going strong despite the sentiment within the market. I mean, Bitcoin trading over $100,000 from nothing 17 years ago. So amazing stuff over there. We can look over here at the banter bubbles. Hourly still struggling, coins pulling back. Daily was brutal. The daily was brutal. A lot of people got absolutely wrecked over there. Weekly, some coins holding up. You got Zcash still pushing strong. We're still in the long trade over there on Zcash, up 946%. Absolutely amazing over there. So longing strength. AIRDROP, one of the stronger looking coins. Virtual's also putting in a big move. Pump 9% for the week, but struggling. If I looked at the daily time frame, I'll have to show you that. Trump just shorted, right? We'll talk about Trump as well and why the liquidity is being drained. So we'll get to that on the next tweet over here, but this is essentially a nice summary from Quinton. Rate cuts, QT ending, China trade deal, crypto ETFs, institutional adoption, crypto as collateral, gold and stocks at all-time high, global liquidity exploding, everything you all beg for, but price still bleeds. Why is that? Well, I could only come to one conclusion, and I think you all got dealt the Donald the Drainer liquidity card. Absorbs liquidity from all markets and stores it in Mar-a-Lago. And that's essentially the place that the market's at, right? It seems like still pain, right? Pain ahead. So we'll talk about what's next. We're in the MicroStrategy short trade. I have extended the take profit down to 136, which is going to be the range low over there. I think I can probably surpass that. But right now, the short is absolutely printing, and I'm holding this as a long-term swing short. I'm not going to be changing anything. This is being given live on the show. We don't need to go into MetaMask right now. Let's just, come on, bro. Just calm down. We don't need that. Anyways, so absolutely dropping off a cliff over here in the MicroStrategy short. And I think this is the canary in the coal mine. This is creating a lot of pressure as well for the Bitcoin market. I saw that MicroStrategy also moved a massive amount of coins around yesterday. So we don't know what's going on over there. I think that's spooking the market a bit as well. And big drop-offs over here. We'll look at the rest of the stock market as well. But I just want to give you the very quick summary, the high time overview, which is the Adam and Eve chart pattern, which means that right now you're approaching towards that neckline. The neckline is going to be coming around these lows, which I think will bounce price temporarily at about 237. But if you do break below that 237, you're going to continue down towards that 136. And of course, that's going to bring a lot of pain into the market. The reason that this is important to look at is because MicroStrategy oftentimes leads Bitcoin both to the up and the downside. And you can go and do your history. This is essentially where Bitcoin was trading, I think, at $107,000. And this one over here came to the 120K plus level. And then ever since then, we've been going down. And it's the equivalent of what happened all the way back in 2021. And let's just quickly have a look at that. I know that this might be a bit of a repeat for some people that have been here day in and day out, but it's the same thing. The 2020 to 21 cycle, Adam and Eve pattern, Bitcoin led, or MicroStrategy led the move towards the upside, came down, put in the rounded, the sell-off that started to round over here, and your first top 65K. Remember this top that we had on this Adam and Eve pattern this time around in this cycle was 107K, right? 107K was that first peak, and Bitcoin 65K. This time, Bitcoin 69K, or that time Bitcoin 69K, and now Bitcoin 120K plus, whatever the high was that we set in most recently. So what you're noticing over here is that MicroStrategy leads, it puts in its blow-off top and then starts to round over and play out the Adam and Eve pattern while Bitcoin still puts in one more high. And that's kind of what we've seen over here. So a little bit of a scary picture, especially since we're coming into October month end. And Bitcoin is not catching a bid. It's not following the stock market. And I think it's bringing a lot of fear and confusion into the market. And people are really starting to mentally check out and capitulate. But I want to remind you that there is always a trade opportunity. So I highly encourage you to not go anywhere. The real winners, and guys, I mean, trust me from experience, the real winners, it's not the people that are the highest IQ in the crypto space. It's also not the people that are the lowest IQ that are left curving absolutely everything, but it's the people that stay consistent and they're here every day and they never leave, because on that one day that most of the people have left is where the opportunity is presented, and you step into that trade and you make multiples, right? So I highly encourage you, just don't leave, just stick it out, just stay day in and day out. I'm not saying be exposed to the market, but pay attention to the market, study the market, read the market every single day and look for opportunities, run through your list, scan through things, and you'll find opportunities, right? So let's quickly see what's going on in the rest of the markets over here. Probably let's actually go to gold over here. Starting off with gold, it does look like the complacency bounce is in play over here. You have created new swing lows, which means that you now need to look for lower highs. The lower high off of gold will probably present a really good short trade opportunity. We have silver doing exactly the same thing. So I'm expecting a rejection on silver in this yellow box over here, which is between 50 and about 51.4, probably also presenting a short opportunity. So there's always a trade, right? Just flip it, flip the chart around if you only like going long, so you can trade it inversely. If there are short trades on the table, it's still a trade, right? It presents a good risk to reward ratio. We'll go to the stock market over here. Stock market still looking okay, consolidating near those highs, and I'm waiting for this pivot level to get hit, which is constantly changing because it depends on the day that it gets hit, but it's going to put it just over 7,000 over there. Dow Jones as well, still okay, it's pulling back slightly. I actually think based on what these candles look like, you probably will see a bit of a deeper pullback, which is going to drop down into those previous highs, but I would maintain the long exposure with stops move to break even. This is based off of the original trade idea that we've given, so I wouldn't be closing this, but rather just leave it open to float that P&L, put in a high low, and then hopefully this pushes up higher after that. QQQ, same thing, a little bit of a pullback over here, so you can really start to target those 50% levels on the pullback. That means that into this candle over here, 613-ish, you're probably going to find a little bit of support over there. So even the stock market started to pull back slightly over there. Let's get into crypto. This so far, if we close like this, which looks like we will, look crazier things have happened. Bulls can pump it in the end. Let me know over there. Vote in the poll. Can bulls save the monthly? 32% of you believe they're coming in hot. I voted this one. Yes, they can, but it's very unlikely. Crazier things have happened, right? We've seen bigger moves. We have 21% with no chance. And then we have the special needs group always here. And we're always here for them as well. They are the special needs group that we give extra attention to in the end, right? So stay until the end. If you're in the special needs group, you are also welcome. You are welcome here. Alrighty. So October probably going to close red. It's very rare that we see a red October. The two times that we saw it previously was in 2014. You did get a strong November that followed on. 2018 was the next one that led to a pretty brutal November. So we don't have too much data to work with over here. It's a rare occasion that it closed negative, but November is still typically the strongest month for bulls. But I would look to the price action and focus on the high time frame charts to give you an analysis of what most likely comes next. And unfortunately, it's not a pretty picture because we can go into the monthly scale. Firstly, I do want to remind you that the cup and handle formation that we had over here, there's your cup, there's your handle, the breakout, the measured move, met perfectly, absolutely perfectly. And we haven't been able to close a single candle above there. In fact, this just looks like straight selling pressure for 1, 2, 3, 4 months in a row. Now, some people will argue that pay more attention to the candle close, which they do say that professionals control the close. Speculators trade the full candle and the professionals control the close of the candle. So as per the close of these candles, like fair enough, you're consolidating at the high. So that is probably quite bullish. But I like to consider all things and pay attention to the timing cycle as well as what those wicks are telling us. And that's telling me there's quite a lot of selling pressure and time is really running out over here. What I would summarize everything as I have been saying over the last couple of weeks to months is $100,000 is going to be a critical level to defend. and bulls are running out of time, the pendulum will swing in their favor very soon. But if they can't run price up into new all-time highs in November, meaning you need to trade above that candle into the 130s, 140s, then the cycle is over. So we are going to find out very, very, very soon. As some may say, it's a date with destiny, and it's coming to a city near you. There's your 2-month chart, right? We got 16 hours and 59 minutes left, so call it 17 hours to essentially close this candle. And if this candle closes like this, these are your tweezer top candles with the measured move having been met. I have highlighted this to you previously, but we'll bring it to your attention once again. You can literally see it over here, right? Those were your rejective candles. Last time you got 2-month candles like that, price went down aggressively. Then you went into a bear market. This one over here was just a consolidation. We've got it twice in a row over here, right? So a little bit of a scary picture. Also, the important thing is that when you do start to close like this, if we can't rally price up, I would say above about 116K, you have high time frame momentum oscillators that are going to roll over. And I'm not talking about the weekly, but more things like the monthly and the 2-monthly, which historically have also timed pretty much exactly the cycle top. So we had a critical place, very, very, very critical. And what I've been saying over the last 2 weeks is that it's still very, very 50 split, right? It's like two sports teams fighting into the final seconds, and it's just anyone's game right now. But the longer that these guys take, meaning the bulls, the more the odds start to favor the other team, which is going to be the bears. And that's the reality. That's where we're at. So let's have a look over here. A quick look at the Whale Trades website. First and foremost, we have a new leader of the pack, 925%, Justin Devonshire. So well done to you trading ENS. Well done. A long trade, actually getting 75x leverage and massive profits. One of our whale room traders over there. So big ups to you. We have our long to short ratio still more or less the same. Short still dominating the market because we're in a downtrend, negative 3.43% skew. We have had a drop in total liquidations. Let's actually check that quickly. This is the last 24 hours, I think, reached just over 1 billion, and the majority came from the long side. So remember, we look for that spike over about 1 billion, and this sometimes will indicate a bit of a turning point within the market if all the other stars align. So what are the stars aligning? Well, the stars aligning was the daily coming into that golden pocket and potentially bouncing, which it then started to get sketchy and broke through. We'll re-look that daily chart in a moment. The other thing we want to see is the corner turning over here with the daily exchange volume, which has also been coming down, and bulls stepping in with volume. But we haven't seen that part. So the stars are attempting to align, but they haven't quite aligned yet. So we've got the first thing that we're looking for. The other things we've been looking for is more outflows. We want to see more outflows with the ETFs. ETF outflows, these guys often sell at the worst times and they buy at the top. And therefore, you can counter trade this. So this is more counter indicator over here for BTC as well as ETH. But we haven't seen enough outflows yet, in my opinion, which is why I said if we get all the stars to align, the price may come down lower. And 100,000 is the number to hold. That's the number. That's what you want to see. We're still in quite a scary environment with the market in panic at 29% over there. And I think we got most of the high impact data out the way. Let's just quickly go back to the bottom and just flip to the US markets. Let's see this over here. Do we have anything interesting coming out today? We are on the 31st of October. So next major events are on the 3rd of November, and it's the manufacturing PMI data, jobs openings, as well as the JOLTS numbers. This is going to be important when the job numbers come out as well, because if unemployment begins to spike, that's, of course, also a bit of a scary sign for where we're at within the timing cycle. Okay, so still getting expansion over here. Also, what I have to say, you have to line this up. You cannot put your head under the sand like an ostrich. We have a very, very bearish monthly and 2-monthly scale right now. You have to line that up with this, which is actually a confirmed signal that volatility expansion is underway. The criteria is cross above the 10 percentile mark, which is the green line running across the screen, followed by not only the actual indicator, but the moving average, which is just behind that. Now, there are false starts. There are times where you expand and cross back down, but either way, you need to take it seriously. Right now, this is expansion confirmed, and the direction of that expansion right now is happening towards the downside. with full confirmation if you break below the previous month's low, which is going to be 103,000. So breaking and holding closing high time frames under that critical level, it all lines up. 100K. Close anything below that 100K level, not good, right? Not good. Things will start to break down over there. Alrighty, so we got over here also price closing multiple candles next to each other. We said this will create a bearish order block. This is why we don't want to close this weekly candle like this. Also, closing like that below the 21 EMA is our one of our earlier leads to say that price is rolling over. And when you keep it very simple, Bitcoin being below the 21 exponential, which is your yellow exponential moving average, with it angled down, so you have to look at the posturing of it, with it angled down equals exit. Price above it with it angled up equals enter. Now, there have been choppy environments, right? We'll give it that. There's been choppy environments, which is why you can add on the 50 simple moving average. And this has double confluence in the fact that it comes into that 50% level, which is the purple fib level, and it's your psychological number and the 50s over there. So there's 3 reasons. But either way, I prefer to, de-risk early. So these times, for those of you that followed me for a very long period of time, you'll know that anytime we lost the 21, you might say, but why didn't you just exit everything over there? Because there's context. The context was, as per the timing cycles, we were still mid or 3/4 of the way through the cycle. In terms of the overall context, timing-wise, we've reached the end of the cycle. The end of the cycle is anything that reaches around 1,050, 1,060 days. 2017 was the longest timing cycle, which was 1,067 days. So therefore, losing the 21 EMA in the context of where we are from bottom to current level in terms of time means you have to take it seriously. Okay, you have to take it seriously. So this is going to be a super important weekly close, and it's on a knife's edge. It's on a knife's edge in the sense that, well, if we start to close below here and we close, let's say, around that 106 or even down to 100K, it becomes giga bearish. Alternatively, if you do actually close very strong and you print a green candle, even just close and hold somehow above that 21 EMA, the hopium comes back in. I wouldn't say it's giga bullish, but there is a bit of hope. There's hope that we're going to lead into the first week of November, which is where I expect the bulls to take over coming into November, at least for an attempt. So the question is, what happens leading into that first week? This is the question for me. I think no doubt we will have a bit of a pump in November. It's just a question of, do bears create enough damage first, whereby that pump just leads to the same place and a lower high, complacency bounce, and it's over? Or do bulls defend this week, and then we lead into November that leads into a bigger pump that could actually send price to all-time high? Unfortunately, I don't know yet, right? Unfortunately, all that you can do is manage your risk. And I think that the better positioning to be in right now is a cash position, assuming that you got into the market early and you're not taking any kind of a massive loss, assuming that it's, still fine in terms of taxes. Like, I know people have complications with like reporting taxes and all sorts of stuff. So I'm just going with the simple case that you don't have any of those problems. Then yes, it's probably better to just be in cash and A, either re-enter here, or B, rather re-enter above like 114, 15K, where there is more strength in the market. This is a dangerous part over here, dangerous environment for price. We have seen price come down into these levels over here. So I would actually like to see Bitcoin close just a little bit higher, just a smidge higher. Keep the bullish hopium alive. That will allow the RSI to bounce exactly off the 50 level, which is the yellow line, which had been a longer term plan that we had been looking at. And then we can see if they can run it up later and turn that MACD back up as well. So that would be the base case. That will also keep you in the trading range as per this chart over here. We're still within the pink box. This is our trading range. Still caught range bound. I know it might not feel like it, but it's still range bound at the moment. Alrighty. So here's Bitcoin on the daily time frame. You can see we're still holding. I said I would have preferred yesterday's candle to run strong and not come all the way down here. Remember, as of the live show yesterday, what we looked at was we actually only had a wick that had come down perfectly into the golden pocket, and then it had rallied up. By the time I was doing my live show, it was trading slightly green above $109,000. Now, Personally, I would have preferred for it to close like that today, to come down a little bit and then begin to rally up. That would have started to look really, really good. But now the picture's beginning to shift, right? This is where the odds begin to change a little bit. Instead, the candle ran all the way down to 106K, which was your demand zone, rallied up, but only closed just into that golden pocket. But what's more significant to me than the golden pocket is always going to be the 50% level, which is in purple, and a close below. Not good, not good. Now you can have a look at what price has done over here. You know, price essentially opened over here, rallied up, but it's rejected. It's rejecting off that 109,963. And if today's candle closes red, you are probably going to see a bit more panic coming into the market. And this could accelerate you down into that 100K region, which is going to have implications into the monthly and the weekly close. The weekly and the monthly close. Remember that the monthly close is today. Today is the monthly close. Okay, so at the end of the day, it is support, but the volume is telling you that the bears are fully in control, 100% in control. The bears are in control. It is what it is. The bulls can take back control, but they need to get above 116.6, your previous lower high. And they need to see, and this was weak. Look, you didn't even make it up. That relief rally didn't even make it into the golden pocket. Never mind, I thought maybe it can actually make it into the bearish order block. So I can actually close that off over there. So these are the things that you need to see from bulls. And I think that the safer play for you, if you're in a cash position, is to either wait for some of those 100K levels to get hit or for a reclaim. Probably the latter. The reclaim is going to be the safer bet. Small opportunity cost, higher probability of success with rising volume. That will tell you that bulls are back. Bulls are not back right now, right? You've been dealt the Donald the Drainer card, unfortunately, at Mar-a-Lago. So all money goes to Mar-a-Lago, okay, to the Mar-a-Lago estate. Alrighty. So there is still trouble there, right? Anyways, that's what we're looking at. Big range over here forming on the daily. We got liquidity 11 million and 12 million. So it's about equal between 111,764 and on the lower side, 105. Okay, we can see over here on the high block capital, negative, 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 negative. But the skew is not enough. I like to use these things in combination, right? I like to look at the skew. Skew's picking up. There we go, a little bit. It was 3% just now. So we're up to 4.12%. I would like to see the skew get a bit more aggressive. You know, anything over like 7-8% is pretty good. With negative funding, Bitcoin drops to 100K, get a little bit of a bounce, shake people out over there. More liquidations, rise in liquidations over here, over $1 billion. That might create the makings for the final shakeout. And if we see the volume turn over here, 7-day daily exchange volume. So that's what I'm looking at, right? Remember, guys, this site is free. The rest of the information is being dropped over here in Whale Room, in the Discord. I am updating everybody, you know, every single step of the way. We had an amazing session yesterday on Zoom, and we are going to be closing things off, right? So it's going to move on to a waiting list. And there's also the yearly price increase that always comes in due to inflation. That's also happening, which means today's your last day. By the way, I want to make quick mention on that. A lot of you have been with us for a long time. You received your diamond hands status in the Discord. You know who you are. You guys are locked in on that price, basically for life, right? So whatever you do, do not leave. If you leave, you lose that low rate that you have. And then for those of you that joined on the previous year, Black Friday, you're also locked in on a very low rate. Don't leave. If you leave, you move on to the new rate. Anyone that joins now today, you're locked in on this rate. Okay, so don't leave. If you leave, you're going to go to the new rate. So it's we're trying to make it, at least fair and reward the guys that have stuck with us for a long time, right? A strong community over there. How can you enter the Discord? There's a link. There's a link below. Just go through over there to Whale Room. That's how. Don't take out the yearly. So I'll just tell you that for free. If you click on that, it's going to open up this page. If you do want to join before we close it off, which is going to be now from tomorrow, and the application error. Let's just see that. Okay, there it's back. So it's over here. Don't take the yearly, right? Don't take the yearly, because there will be a special that can get you in on the yearly for Black Friday. So I'm already telling you that ahead of time, but you can lock in the monthly rate now before the price rise if you want to. That's up to you. Alrighty, let's have a look at USDT dominance. Okay, USDT dominance, very, very, very important today. I would watch this chart like an absolute hawk. Let's actually look at it on multiple time frames. Right now, unfortunately, the truth is it still does look a bit more bullish than bearish. Bullish means bad for the rest of the market. You can probably monitor the low time frame trend over here, which I'm assuming is just riding these EMAs up, right? So you can see you got the golden cross. It's just moving all the way towards the upside, consolidation into highs. Remember, the four times that it attempts into a high is most likely to lead to a breakout. I'm not including this wick over here, but 1, 2, 3, which means if you come down, guys, the fourth time, that's going to break this thing up. That means, unfortunately, the rest of the market probably goes down. So there is still opportunities. We are short-term trading, right? We have a lot of trades. This has been one of them. Zcash. Remember we had the fight with the troll just the other day about it hitting the 50% level? There it is. Zcash hit exactly into the 50% level at $300. Perfect to the T. We're still targeting 465, and this trade was dropped all the way down here in the Discord, or was it over here? One of these onto that trend line over there. So we've made massive profits. We're up 946%. Remember, you can also participate in the airdrop farming. That's why we're trading this over here. So the airdrop farming is linked below as well. There it is. There's Gravity. There you earn 10% interest on your total trading account balance. That's automatic and renews every 6 hours. And you get 10% deposit yield on your margin, which can be used for the trading, right? Use that link. But more importantly, you're just farming those airdrops. So when they drop the Gravity token, I think it's going to be early next year, this could be worth something like Hyperliquid was, which was, billions. People minted free money out of thin air. Alrighty. So look at that. Amazing. Dan says he's on $450,000 trading volume. Absolutely insane on Gravity. I'm on about 60,000, but I only traded an $800 trading account, and I've only had 2 trades. I only took BTC long, and then we closed that, and then I entered into the Zcash long. And that's it. Those are the only trades I've taken incremental profits. But it's quite easy actually to rake up the volume. And the volume is what pays you. And we ran that speculation calculator with my volume currently at like 50-ish million. That's almost $1,000 in airdrop points. Anyway, back onto this. Sorry, I don't want to digress too much. Unfortunately, this looks more bullish than bearish. In order to confirm a breakdown of this, I really want to see it break below the 200 EMA and the 50 EMA, which just so happens to coincide with that high low. So please manage your risk accordingly, because this chart looks like it wants to go up. And if this chart is going to go up from here today, there is going to be more pain. And into the next days, right? Between today and into next week, there will be a bit more pain. So use this chart, right? You guys like to think, okay, it's not all of you, I think, but let's just say people on crypto, Twitter and everything, they like to think in up-only terms. Here's your up-only chart. This chart wants to go up. So that is USDT dominance. So we're really hoping that total cryptocurrency market cap holds this 3.63 trillion. That's what we're looking at over there. Ravioli says, please post the calculator. I'll try put it. Okay, I'll put it in after the show. Hardest, can you put the calculator for us, please? He's in the background over there. Well, it should be in our chat. I'm sure I sent it to you in our WhatsApp chat over there somewhere. Just find it there. And then, but just quickly with the calculator, I'm never going to accept your request to edit the calculator, guys. Don't say, only a few people. There are like 3 people that send a request. All you have to do is make a copy. Just use ChatGPT. Hey, how do I access the calculator to edit it? Literally go to the top, say file, say create your own copy. When you make your own copy, you can edit, click, do whatever you want in there. That's what you need to do. This one is uneditable. Okay. Otherwise, people are going to mess the calculator up. It's obvious. Okay. Anyways, let's move on. So we're looking at total cryptocurrency market cap. Very, very, very important that this level holds. Total 3 is the one that looks a little bit more dismal because you failed at these highs. All this is telling you is that there is still time. Don't rush into positions. It's capital preservation mode still, in my humble opinion, right? Capital preservation mode, that's what you want to be waiting for. There are trades that are on the table. It's only really BTC and ETH. Those are the only two positions, and the Zcash position that I'm in, right? BTC and ETH is simply just scaling in, and we're giving ETH the benefit of the doubt that the ETH BTC ratio is likely to still find support at the 0.382 fib level, which is a ratio of 0.03355. Right, we want to see that, and that might cause one more move towards the upside. So that is the long trade. That is the long trade over there. The BTC trade, long trade that I'm taking personally, is simply just on a grid, and it's based on the weekly demand. That's it. So if you start to break below this, you've lost the weekly demand. This is the final dying hope. The final dying hope for bulls to defend and send price from this level. If they can't, it's a deviation. You roll over, you took out your 2024 highs, which is not a good thing, and you call that a deviation, and that's it. Alrighty, let me check out your comments over here. I think we have nice people today. I haven't seen anyone have to fight today. Let's see. Well, we're going to check now. Okay. Let's see. What else? Is it too late to get into Zcash? I mean, that's not a bad question. We can have a look. Yesterday, you had a very strong daily candle on Zcash. Is it this chart? Let me just check if it's this one. Yes, it is. So we'll go on to the 4-hour time frame. Alrighty. Okay, cool, guys. Yeah, I'm just laughing at your comments over here. Look, I literally said all week, this question was asked multiple times. They asked, you know, if I want to get into Zcash, where's the best place? I said $300. And they hit it on the nose, bounced beautifully off of that level. And that was the level. So buying over here, yes, in my opinion, is a bit too late. Unless you're going to trigger it on a super low time frame, like that's going to be your only chance. So if I were desperate to get in, what would I do? I'd probably look at, use this hourly. This is a bit of an overextension, and I think there will be a pullback. And you're going to have to target into the 50% level of this fib. So probably somewhere around here, right? And let's just box this for you guys. Okay, so probably going to look for some sort of a pullback over here and a high low to form. That's what you're going to want to see. You're going to probably look for something like this. It may even go a bit low, but once you recover that 50%, you'll have confirmation that that's your high low. That's the structure. You can't long it here. No, that's my answer. Definitely not. You can't long it over here. If you missed it, you missed it, and it is what it is. The good news is that there will be another trade. That's the amazing thing, right? There will always be another trade. I will be very tempted to take the rest of my profits. I've got 20% left on the position. That was my flyer part of the position that I'm just going to hold. If I see weakness at 465, which is the measured move of the ascending triangle that's broken out over here, there's your ascending triangle breakout. So if you find resistance at 465, I might take the rest. One thing I'll definitely do is as soon as it hits 1,000%, I will take a screenshot. That I'm doing for sure. Okay, trade for the day, Dan. Yes, you guys know I always try and leave you with something, the trade of the day. But what is the trade of the day? Today is really difficult because, yeah, it's just there's not that many things that look great or well positioned. Yesterday, price came into support. It's not ideal. There's not ideal positions. We can go through the list. I'm going to scroll through everything very, very, very quickly. If anything, the trade of the day is probably a Bitcoin short off of this 50 EMA because you're still putting in lower lows and lower highs, right? So if anything, it's unfortunately not going to be a long trade. You're just riding this down, lower lows and lower highs, right? So even if that's going to lead into another higher low, it's probably first going to come down to the previous month's low for support. So I don't necessarily expect this to blast through. So we're going to have to look. We'll look for opportunities now. We do have a bit of time. You have broken that trend line. What else have we got over here? Traders killing it. 𝗙𝗥 was on the leaderboard yesterday. He managed to make 500% profit shorting Zcash, which is one of the top performers, which is pretty impressive. Who else have we got in here? 𝗙𝗥 again. 𝗙𝗥, you got to regain your title. He was on our Zoom yesterday in Whale Room, and I made sure that these are not $1 positions, right? Turns out he actually trades with quite a bit of size. So we're having a lot of fun over there in Whale Room. Good stuff. Alrighty, let's move on. I'm going to go through the list very quickly, guys. We're on the portfolio list. We're going to position onto the weeklies, and let's just run through this. Let's just see if there is anything. For some reason, my internet is I don't know if it's the internet or if it's TradingView, but it seems very, very, very slow today. Okay, so swing trade of, this is not a trade of the day, I guess, but swing trade position would be ETH. Still, you have your invalidation underneath those lows over there, 3,270. So if you are scaling into this position over here, of course, you can't throw your whole account in or you'll lose 15%, but that is one position. I see Dylan Cron with BNB shorts. Haven't seen Dylan for a while. What's up, bro? I hope you're doing good. We'll look at BNB. Let me just go through the list over here. So this one's moved too much. You can't take that trade. XRP, now skip it. Look, Solana, we can go on a low time frame and just see. Yes, I told you it's just chopping about, but you have come back towards the bottom of the trading range. So maybe look out for a position on Solana. Yesterday I said, no, you can't take this. You're in the middle of no man's land. You have to wait for one of the extremities. So theoretically, you've come into these lows over here. I think you might have one more leg down, but if you see something like that sweeping below 180 and then the reclaim, maybe a bit of an opportunity over there. Let's go back on the weeklies. Sui, I also told you yesterday that Sui looks like it wants to come back into the yellow box at $2. It still looks to be the case. So no trade over there for me personally. Sonic just keeps melting down over here. I don't know what's going on with that project and the team. Say looks like it's at rock bottom support. If it gains acceptance under this, it's going to be bad. That's your weekly scale. Cardano, no trade over there in my opinion. AVAX all the way down at range lows, but I think it's going to take time to reverse course over here, so no trade there. Ton already lost a super key level. Very, very, very bad. We have Casper. You know, it's just terrible out here. People are capitulating. This still, I think, could come all the way back down. You got more double confluence with the midline, as well as a strong horizontal coming in at about 0.034. Tron, if anything, this is also starting to look like a bit of a short. Remember, the original trade idea was to short this over here, but I didn't get my perfect entry. I missed it. It is what it is. You don't get everything. But Tron really starting to look like it wants to roll over to me. No trade, though. No trade for today, unfortunately. Okay, guys, sometimes there is no trade. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't want to give you a trade for nothing and just to get you trading, and then you're going to get absolutely rinsed. Marking down. So glad we closed this position. Marking down on, okay, pump. We also closed this, right? We took profits right here at the top. I said, I'm not waiting for that. I'm just going to take it. I think pump's probably coming back into the yellow box, 0.0035. Aster. Let's go on to the hourly. Let's just see over here what's going on Aster. So we've come into that. You've hit that pivot level. You did actually bounce off it. You had a bit of confluence, but it's got a lot of work to do. It's downtrending. I don't like it for a short because you're coming into support. I also don't like it for a long because we don't have any confirmation. So I have to just skip it. Hype has been very strong. Hype did break this trend line over here on the daily, which I'll show you over here. So Hype has had relative strength. It's very sloppy against the rest of the market in terms of its like what its structure looks like. But, you know, I'll go from these closes. I'm going to eliminate that wick. Maybe you'll find a bit of support over here and you can start to look for a bump and run scenario. Bump and run scenario is trend line break, right? Bump and run. So you're going to be looking for something like that. I wouldn't long blindly at 41. I'll just observe on the lower time frames how the structure is forming. So you can see a bit of support over here, resistance over here, maybe potential support. So watch for maybe one more flush, something like that. That could be the trade of the day, something around that 40 to 42 region. You know, usually I try my best to spoon feed as much as possible, but on this one, we're not in the spot to spoon feed, right? So you're going to have to use a bit of your own intuition. But this is kind of a bit of a setup that I'd be looking for over here to form. You have also this area of interest over here. Let's just quickly highlight that for you. We also have this area of interest. So I'd be looking for a bit of demand coming into there. Where's that? 0.618 and 65, the golden pocket. So there it is. It comes nicely into that spot. Let's just double check our fibs are perfect. There we go. There we go. So probably this would be the trade of the day. If you can catch, if you can catch, what is this, hype into there, because now you have a defined stop loss underneath those lows, and that already just gives you a 6 to 1, about a 6 to 1. Okay. I'm mostly focusing on larger market cap coins, things that are more traded, just because the liquidity is very, very, very low. The order blocks are super thin across the board. I said that this is probably coming in. I still stick by that. That's Apex. Okay. Everything else looked bad, guys. I went through the list. There were a few small things that were doing like, okay, I'm just going to quickly go through just to see if I can spot it like off the top of my head. This one was okay. Yeah, Syrup was kind of holding up with relative strength, but no real trade there. It was it ENA? No, ENA looks terrible. ENS. Okay, also not good. Wait, virtuals. Let's go to virtuals. Virtual, not virtuals. It's random. Like, I mean, there's just not much. Really not much over here. One thing I did notice is, what is that one called again? Let me just see this meme coin. Pepe, Bonk, Useless, Turbo. It's not Turbo. 𝗕𝗏. That's it, 𝗕𝗏. So these guys are definitely running some market making on this, which can play in your favor. 𝗕𝗏, super risky because it's a meme coin, but they're painting a chart, right? It's a literal thing in market making. It's called painting a chart, where you pay the market maker to keep the chart doing what you want it to do, and they are painting a chart. So if you want a free trade, I'm pretty sure these guys are painting a chart on 𝗕𝗏, and it's just an uptrend. There it is. So use your low time frame maybe for a bit of a trigger, but any little pullbacks they're using the market maker for sure. They're buying it up. They're holding this trend line. Normal trading, this means massive liquidity underneath, so you can easily get rugged. But for example, that was the rug, right? But they tell Mr. Market Maker, keep it on this trend line, or they T-wapping it or whatever, right? So keep it on the trend line. So even during the big flush, boom, bought up straight away. AIRDROP was that was the other one that I wanted to look at, right? That was the one that I think I saw and I was like, okay, it looks okay. So this might be one that's a bit of an opportunity. AIRDROP is the other. Let's have a look at that. So AIRDROP is also showing relative strength, similar to Hype. I'm actually going to just move this to the top. So we have it, and it's A, so it should be at the top. Potential bump and run, maybe. Just see if it can hold this level. This is a nice horizontal SR flip over here. I'd be watching that. I'd be watching that level over there. So about 9, just under $1, if it can hold that. Again, you need to use a bit of your own like trading common sense to figure out how to enter into some of these trades. I can't, silver platter everything, but I think we've given quite a few over here. So trade ideas, 𝗕𝗏, because the market makers, free trade over there for you if they can hold that. And Hype was the other one. Those are probably the best looking opportunities. Go to Hype quickly over here. Pull back into 39.7. Trump, I would mostly look for a short. We can pull up Trump. But just remember, where's our image? Donald the Drainer is coming for you. Trump might be up today. World Liberty Finance might be up today, but it's probably not going to continue to be up. So let's go to Trump. Trump official. All right, let's go on the weekly. So look, I wouldn't want to step in front of it, but look for when weakness begins to set in. So this is going to be a bit of a tough level to flip. This is your underside resistance. Underside resistance. Next sticky level, in my opinion, around here. So let it do its thing, but then use those low time frames to start to fade it. So even if they get it up here, even if they run this up here, I would expect it to fail and then just bleed out all the way down. As long as you're not getting killed too much on funding, it's probably a good short. Not now. I want to be clear, not right now. This could be an order block that's going to drive price higher. But once you get in a nice pump, just fade it. Any of these pumps got faded. Look at that. All of them. Faded, faded. All right. Okay, guys, let me check the comments. What else? Altcoin is not doing good. It's really bad. So Arrow's okay. That's a bump and run theory. Yeah, Ondo's not great. SPX 6900 we looked at yesterday. That's kind of looks like it wants to break down. It's got further downside. Asta also, look, it came into key support, but I think it could still have a bit more downside. I said you can't short it, but you also can't long it. Right now, it's in the middle of no man's land. You need it to settle. Is $20 enough to trade on GRVT? Yeah, it is. Absolutely. It is, honestly. Like, I don't think, maybe you're not going to get thousands of dollars in airdrop points, but maybe you'll get a few hundred. That's worth it off $20. Why not? So it is worth it. Let's check what my portfolio is on in terms of the volume. This is off of a very small account, right? And there I'm in 62,145 on volume. Did you manage, hardest? Give me a thumbs up to get the thing in or not yet. Oh, you got it. Okay, so let's quickly go over here. Here's your airdrop calculator. Click on that. Okay, click on that. So then we go here, 62,145, GRVT. There it is. 62,145. Okay, $1,015 approximately in airdrop points. So the calculators below, I'm literally making this absolute idiot proof. Click File, click Make a Copy, and then you make your own copy, and then you can come and click inside here. Okay. All right. Okay, cool. No one got grilled today, which is absolutely amazing. We had a very happy bunch of people today. Thank you so much for joining, guys. I will see you all on the next one. Be careful of Donald the Drainer. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day and cheers for now.